The Xbox One X is officially 1 year old, and we're going to talk about what has changed in that past year, how well it's been selling, and how it stacks up against its chief rival, the PS4 Pro.
So do you have any smack talk for people who are buying an Xbox One then why Sony's better?
You're wasting your time.
When the One X was first released, the really big push for Microsoft is that this is the most powerful console ever made. And if you just looked at a spec sheet back then, that was definitely the case. I mean, it had a lot more power than the PS4 Pro. When it came to games that were coming out the holiday season, we were seeing results where the One X versions were running better at higher native resolutions and oftentimes offering more graphical strengths. But seeing things on a spec sheet don't always translate to real life practice. As time goes on, some things can happen where devs might handicap a version of a game because they want console parity, or maybe it's just they made one version that works equally well on each system. And thankfully, that really hasn't been the case with the One X at all. Over the last year, we've seen a lot of big-name AAA titles come out on both the PS4 Pro and Xbox One X, and time again, the One X is the crisper, better-looking version, with examples like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Call of Duty Black Ops 4, Rise of the Tomb Raider, and most recently, and probably most importantly, Red Dead Redemption 2. The PS4 Pro versions can get close with things like advanced upscaling techniques like checkerboarding, but at the end of the day, the Xbox One X has a higher native resolution, resulting in a crisper image, and oftentimes games will also include different graphical improvements like better draw distances or higher quality shadows. Now, raw power alone is cool, but something that I really did like about the One X at launch versus the PS4 Pro is that I feel like Microsoft has put a lot of effort into improving the user experience on the system, and that's something that has improved as well over the past year. They've pushed a number of updates that have improved the UI to add more customization control for the user, as well as making things just easier to navigate, and they've made a lot of changes to the adaptability of the system to work in a much larger range of setups, including support for 120Hz monitors, 1440p resolution, and even supports FreeSync, which mostly works with monitor setups, but there are now Samsung TVs that also use this technology to give you a much smoother looking frame rate experience on the Xbox One X. Microsoft's also been pushing a lot of products and updates to help make sure the system is more accessible to a larger number of gamers, including the adaptive controller, which makes it a lot easier to use the system with different physical disabilities, a narrator for the Xbox One, which is now available in a lot more languages for people that have vision impairments, and this is even reflected in their new avatar system where people can make avatars of themselves featuring different impairments like being in a wheelchair. All of this is great, and I think it's really what's helped meld the Xbox One X into really being the best gaming console when it comes to just its hardware and software, and that has reflected a bit in sales, where while Microsoft hasn't really talked specific numbers anymore, it does look as though the One X has been improving sales for Microsoft in general, but still not quite enough to compete with other systems, and a large reason for that is the one weakness of the system: exclusives. While the One X has made itself the go-to system for multi-platform games to get the best visual experience possible, when it comes to unique and exclusive games on it, things have still been pretty slow. Over the last year, we've basically only had 3 big-name exclusive titles come out on the One X, including State of Decay 2 and Sea of Thieves, both good games, but neither of which has really had an explosion in popularity enough to really justify them as console pushers. And the third title is Forza Horizon 4, which is a really good game. Honestly, I think it's the best one in the franchise and really worth playing, but at this point, anyone who's a Forza fan has probably already picked up an Xbox One. It's not getting new people into the system. Now, with that said, I think this is something that Microsoft is acutely aware of, and is something they want to change in the coming future, but it's not happening just quite yet. And I think they've tried pushing toward this idea a lot at last E3, where I think they were really trying to make 3 big points clear. First off, Xbox One X is the system you should go to for multi-platform games. Ending their E3 conference with Cyberpunk 2077 coming from the same studio that made Witcher 3, which was a huge success, they're sending the message, hey, everyone's going to want to play this game, and One X is going to be the place to do it. 2, they announced a number of exclusive for big-name franchises they've already established, like Halo Infinite and Gears of War 5. And 3, most importantly, they announced a lot of new studios. What's more interesting to me is they've also acquired Compulsion, who's responsible for We Happy Few, and Ninja Theory, who's made a lot of really interesting, beautiful games and could do some really cool stuff for Microsoft. And if recent rumors turn out to be true, they could also be acquiring one of my personal favorite developers, Obsidian Entertainment, responsible for some of the best RPGs in recent years. While none of these acquisitions solve the immediate problem and give us games right here, right now, today, it shows that Microsoft is investing in future ideas, and another year from now, we might start to see a lot of really cool, really awesome exclusive games down the road. So that being the current state of the Xbox One X, what is next from Microsoft? What is the future of the Xbox? And looking at a lot of the stuff they've been doing the past year or two, and a lot of stuff they've talked about at recent press conferences, I really feel like they're moving towards the idea of Xbox no longer being a set of hardware, but instead Xbox as a service. I mean, really, look at a lot of stuff we've been focusing on lately. At E3, one of the things they talked about was the idea of focusing on game streaming, bringing it to other devices so you can play Xbox games on things like your phone.
Our cloud engineers are building a game streaming network to unlock console quality gaming on any device.
Recently, they revealed concepts for a controller adapter that'll work with phones, and they even tested that idea of Xbox All Access, a program where instead of just buying an Xbox for a set price amount right out the gate, you can instead pay in installments over time, where you pay for the services like Xbox Live Gold and Xbox Game Pass, and at the same time, you're paying off this controller in small fees over time. And so the idea could be that down the line, instead of being something where you just buy a system, maybe you're just buying a stream box, or maybe you are buying hardware you can use at your home, but you're paying for over time and accessing this large library of games. And this is even evident by the way they've approached the idea of backwards compatibility. While Nintendo and PlayStation are focusing on releasing old games through other side retro consoles or doing different special programs, Microsoft has approached the idea of, hey, you bought this one system, this one box, and we'll try to get it to be able to play all the 360 games you liked, all the original Xbox games you liked, and of course, all the Xbox One stuff too. I think Xbox made something really special with the Xbox One X, and while things have been a little rough as far as the first-party games go, I think they've got a really interesting and bright future ahead that I want to see shaped. And we might get some more insights into that soon. They're doing a new Xbox event this weekend in just a few days, and I'm really curious to see what, if anything new, gets announced.